we are joined by, of course, Bill Kramer and Glenn Coleman, both former firefighters, and both who knew Daryl Gordon very well. Glenn Coleman, let's bring you in since we've not yet talked to you. Tell us your thoughts on Daryl Gordon, especially on this morning.
Well, you know, as you look at this, I mean, as you can see, people from all over the country are here to honor firefighter Gordon. And Daryl, my interaction with him as a district chief is Daryl was on the bomb squad for years, and we'd make bomb runs together. And, you know, he would make that an easy job for a very dangerous situation most of the time, because them guys never knew what they were going in. They'd get dressed up in a bomb suit, they'd go in, they'd take care of business. And Daryl was always that, you know, serious guy that got down to business and took care of the matter at hand. And then afterwards, you know, we'd talk about it and stuff. And he's just one of those guys that everybody liked. And it's a shame that this happened. You know, I mean, he was getting so close to ending his career. You know, like it's going to be like
just a couple years away, right?
Yeah, it was going to be like Chief Kramer and myself. You know, he was probably like 2 or 3 years from being retired. You know, and like I was telling Chris, I said. You know, now, you know, he's got 2 young daughters. So when my daughter got married a couple years ago, he won't get to take his daughters down the aisle, you know, and like I just had grandchildren, he won't get to see his grandchildren and stuff. So
it's emotional for you. Yeah,
it's
Chief Kramer, you were at the visitation last night. We were talking during Good Morning Tri-State. One of the very first calls to Chief Braun when the incident happened last week was from the Toledo Fire Chief. The Toledo Fire Chief, you visited with him yesterday as he was at the visitation as well.
I did. I met Chief Santiago and several of his command staff. The Toledo Fire Department reciprocated by sending a nice contingent of delegates to the ceremonies for our fallen brother here in Cincinnati. And I was fortunate to have been in Toledo to help honor their fallen brothers as well. And I think within the state of Ohio, there's kind of a special kinship among the fire departments, especially the large metro departments, including Cincinnati, Cleveland, Akron, Toledo. We share a lot of the same ideas and ideals, and a lot of the innovations in the fire service nationally have originated in some of these bigger cities in Ohio and spread elsewhere. But along the way, that personal feeling of love for our brother firefighters was never lost with that new technology.
On your guys' badge, first in service. Your father was part of the Cincinnati Fire Department. This was your career as well. You can sense the emotion that you're feeling right now.
Right. I mean, I came from a family. My father did 34 years. Chief Kramer knew my father.
I think he terrorized your father.
Yeah. But, and I knew if I ever got the chance that I'd continue that on the, you know, so between us, we put in 66 years on the Cincinnati Fire Department.
You know, gentlemen, last week as I was out at the scene and speaking to Chief Braun, he called it a vocation, not necessarily a job for so many.
Yes, it's genuinely a vocation, a calling, and for a very few, I think it's a lifetime passion that never dies, and that included Daryl, who to the very end gave the same energy and enthusiasm to the job that he did as he did on his first day of work.
There's something that I think we should mention. You know, Tom was talking about how somber it is, how incredibly, like, you could hear a pin drop if you were out there on those streets, on Plum Street right now, specifically in front of the cathedral. We think about the Reds opening day parade. We think about processions like that. This is not that. This is completely a moment where everyone will stand at attention when this hearse goes by, and there will be nothing but tears and silence.
Very true. And I do think one of the differentiating characteristics of the firefighter is the fact that he or she is willing to go in and save a total stranger. They don't ask about the ethnicity of the individual. They don't ask about how wealthy they are. It makes no difference. They will go in to a very serious, deadly environment to try to do their best to save that person's life or property.
You know, it's often said that, you know, first responders, firefighters specifically, you run into harm's way when everybody else is running away from those types of scenes. Today, the procession actually, this will be the route that it'll be traveling. So it'll be starting at Engine 14 at the firehouse there at 5th and Central. It'll head north on Central Avenue, and then it'll pass the Firefighters Memorial. We've been showing pictures there with flags at half-staff. There's been a growing memorial of flowers and support since last week. From there, to go east on 6th Street before it heads north on Plum Street to St. Peter and Chains.
And we heard Allie Kramer say that some 700 firefighters will walk in this parade, and that's not to mention the thousands who are standing by at the cathedral. You talked about other Ohio departments coming to the aid of Cincinnati's fire department, other municipalities within the Hamilton County, Butler County, and then of course Columbus came very much to the aid of this community so that these firefighters could attend. What does it mean when these guys come in and say, men and women say, okay, you know what, you all go to this funeral?
I stopped at Engine 3's house this morning at 9th and Broadway, and the Columbus guys were all there. And, the Cincinnati guys were showing them, stuff on the trucks and all this stuff. And the Columbus guys, they were just doing all they could. They wanted to help out so bad just to come down here and help honor a Cincinnati guy. And I think there's like 200 of them down here. So, I mean.
Yeah, what does it say when so many different fire agencies have responded from the standpoint of personnel? So the rest of the Cincinnati Fire Department can attend today's services, last night's services, and such.
Well, I think many of us in the firefighting profession would willingly go serve somewhere else and would consider it an honor. And in the last time when the Columbus firefighters helped staff our stations in Cincinnati during the Oscar Armstrong funeral, they actually had to deal with some serious situations. There was a major hazmat incident down along the Spring Grove corridor. There was also an actual working structure fire in Madisonville, and these various incidents were handled during the funeral activities with total professionalism by those visiting firefighters.
And we talk about the firefighters being able to attend. As you guys have mentioned, Firefighter Gordon, he was an EMT, he was a bomb squad guy, he was a firefighter, he ran air care, he touched so many different communities. I understand UC Hospital, University Hospital, I mean, there are representatives from that hospital there, doctors and nurses and trauma specialists that he worked with there as well. This is a man, as Chris has mentioned, who it was like he was the center of a wheel with so many spokes into the community.
And as we were talking about, you're right, is the procession. And you can see the outpouring of support from the standpoint that really just backed up what you just said there, Tanya. So as the procession will make its way to St. Peter and Chains today, then there will be the funeral service at the cathedral itself. There we will hear from the deacon, Royce Winters, who is with the Cincinnati Archdiocese. From there, Mayor John Cranley will speak. City Manager Harry Black will speak, as well as representatives from the fire union, Mr. Gordon's family, and other individuals. And from there is where we toss to St. Peter and Chains. That's where Tom McKee is standing by. Tom?
Turn the corner off of 6th Street going up north on Plum to St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. An impressive sight to see all these firefighters awaiting the arrival of that procession. It's just starting now, as we've been told, from 5th and Central, again, going up Central Avenue, north on Central Avenue, turning east on 6th Street, and then turning north on Plum Street to get to the cathedral to be greeted by all these firefighters. They will be bringing to attention, be snapping to attention, snapping a salute as they pass onto the crossed aerial ladders that are placed right at 6th and Plum. Then the casket will be taken off of the engine by members of the Colerain Township Fire Department. They are very familiar with loss in their department as well. 2008 fire care took the lives of Captain Robin Brocksterman and firefighter Brian Shira in a fire on Squirrel's Nest Lane in Colerain Township. Basically, they're here in memory to bring the steps out for that casket to be brought down and going into the church. The service itself, as you were saying, is about an hour in length. A number of speakers going to be there. Mayor Cranley, Fire Chief Richard Braun, and a member of the Gordon family is going to address, certainly to say thanks for the support, thanks for the outpouring of everything that is going to be going into making this a day that the city, the fire department, and the citizens, the everyday citizens that are affected by the Cincinnati Fire Department when they come in. And as they were saying a few minutes ago, they don't care who they are on the other end. They go in when other people are rushing out, as Chris just said. I hear the bagpipes. You can see the procession going down the street, very slow, very somber, headed to St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. Chris, Tanya.
Thank you, Tom. And gentlemen, I would hope that you could comment here. Talk about, we hear bagpipes, we see the color guard. That color guard is very specific. I don't know if either of you can comment on what is in that color guard. What is represented specifically?
Well, all the color guards, there must be, I think there's like 40 of them from 40 different fire departments. And, you know, they all have the acts, you know, they're probably their city flag and the American flag. And with the bagpipes, I got an interesting note on the bagpipes. Bagpipes, they were used back in the 1800s because many of the police and firefighters were of Irish and Scottish descent. And so they used the bagpipes at then, and that tradition has just continued on from then since the early 1800s. And you got to admit, that's a sound that you just don't hear that much. I mean, it's a...
And when you do hear it, it brings to mind exactly this.
Let's listen in for a few seconds.
As you can see on the front of that fire engine, Daryl Gordon's, we call that his jacket, his uniform?
It's turnout gear.
Turnout gear.
And that is Engine 14, in which gentleman he served so long for.
Right.
Correct. And Engine 14 is kind of a specialty unit. They house not just a regular standard pumper engine company to extinguish fires, but they're also in charge of the bomb squad, as Chief Coleman mentioned. And we always looked upon them as the cavalry in certain instances, of the bomb runs in particular. And I do remember Daryl Gordon coming to my aid one time when I was fire chief in Warren County, and we had a bomb incident. It was a live pipe bomb at a construction site. Daryl came in, and as Chief Coleman mentioned, he saved the day. He outranked everybody in 2 counties that day when he disarmed that bomb.
Well, there we could see his wife Angela and his 2 daughters Angelique and Chelsea. And gentlemen, to also kind of reiterate, on the fire truck is where the casket is itself, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And there's specific things on that casket. Can you talk about, and for lack of a better way of putting it, the pomp and circumstance that goes into the tradition that goes into the bunting and the covering up of certain things on that engine?
Go ahead, Chief.
Well, we see the traditional black and purple colors, and it's called bunting. Sometimes the banner is called the pall, and it comes out at sad times, but it's also a measure of respect, and it's always an interesting contrasting colors when I see the black and then beneath it the red and white shining through with the fire engine indicating it's going to be there for the next person that needs it.
Wow. That's an excellent way to put it. And you see the casket there draped with the American flag.
Last night at the layout, there was an interesting thing with the casket. They had a ceremony where all the bomb techs from Hamilton County, they lined up 2 by 2. They came in towards the casket, and I don't know if you, I get this reference from American Sniper at the end there, where they all put their thing on the seal. All these guys came in, they have an insignia for being a bomber. It's a thing that's got a cloud. So they all came in and put those on the casket last night. Like, there must have been 30 guys.
Wow.
All right, so the procession now has turned on to East 6th Street. That is where we find Not On Your Side reporter Zach Pitts, who's standing by. Zach.
Well, good morning to you. We just saw City Manager Harry Black and Mayor Cranley walk by here. You see the bagpipers as they round on Plum Street coming off of 6th Street, making their way to St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. I just want to share something on a personal note. The last station that I worked at was in Toledo, Ohio, and as we've been reporting, 2 firefighters, they were killed there 2 years ago, and I remember covering that procession. And it's a lot of the same images, a lot of the same visuals that we're seeing today. And we actually reported that Chief Ron said that the first phone call that he made after Gordon was killed was to Chief Luis Santiago. He's the chief in Toledo. And we often hear firefighters talk about a brotherhood, a bond. And it doesn't matter where a firefighter was killed, what department they work for, ultimately the city they help to protect. When a firefighter is killed, obviously they all come together, and that is what we're seeing here, right here this morning. Let's go ahead and send things back to you, Chris and Tanya.
Thank you, Zach. And Zach very aptly notes, I mean, there might be different buttons, there might be little things that are different, but for the most part, this is a brotherhood. This is something that is universal amongst firefighters. They are one and the same. And so therefore, these things all have the same types of procedures involved.
These shots now along Central Avenue just before you turn onto 6th Street. There is Engine 14 with firefighter Daryl Gordon. We toss it now out to Tom McKee, who is standing by at St. Peter and Chains. Tom?
Basically what we see now is the color guard passing directly in front of us here at St. Peter and Chains. Moments ago, a very, very solemn scene. A command, attention. Everybody snapped to attention, and then the command to salute. Every firefighter lining the streets has produced a snappy salute, and that'll remain that way until the Casket and Engine 14 arrive here at St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. The crowd has gone deathly, deathly quiet. You could hear a pin drop here out of respect, out of this day, under a bright blue, beautiful sky with the sun beaming down on everybody gathered here. Mayor Cranley, City Manager Harry Black, former Fire Chief Robert Wright, making their way to the sidelines here after walking in the procession. The bagpipers have just crossed under the crossed aerial ladders with the American flag and the purple and black bunting draping from it. Very large contingent of bagpipers to honor Daryl Gordon. Marching in step, the music piercing this cold, crisp air. Right behind them, Engine 14. Every firefighter here with a snap salute that will remain. Very impressive ceremony. Very impressive to watch mothers and their young children standing, looking, and learning about life, learning about sacrifice, learning about giving of oneself to help somebody else, no matter who they are, no matter what their background, no matter what their ethnicity, as we've said many, many times. You see the different colors on the drums of these corps, pipers and drummers from all over fire departments in the area. A single cadence, they're marching by, and here comes Engine 14, flanked by firefighters in their dress blues. On the front of Engine 14, you can see the turnout gear of Daryl Gordon, the white coat with the orange and black reflective tape on it, his boots there, his helmet there. The engine is now coming up to the area in front of St. Peter and Chains Cathedral, where the steps are lined with Cincinnati firefighters standing at attention. Engine 14 is coming to a stop in just a second. The salute has been released. Salute has been released. The Coleraine Township Fire Department volunteers are now moving the portable stairway to the back of Engine 14. The color guard is now coming back to flank both sides of engine 14, as the honor guard will be removing the casket from engine 14 in just a couple of seconds.
Tom, if I may interject just to assist with some of the pallbearers here, they have been listed as Robert Anderson, Tim Englund, Walter Cruz Jr., Michael Helbling, Lonnie Jones II, John Ladd, Bridal Love, Willie Miner, Mark Royce, James Williams, Jeffrey Williams, and Tony Zander.
Forward march command has been given. Firefighters from across the department making up this honor guard to remove the casket, take it into St. Peter and James Cathedral. Very, very solemn moment. The crowd silent. All the firefighters standing at ramrod straight attention. Behind the procession, several limousines carrying members of the family, the Gordon family, the extended Gordon family, now members of the Cincinnati Fire Department. Row after row after row of members of the Cincinnati Fire Department coming up Plum Street to the scene. A lone command calling out left, 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 right, left. Very impressive show from the entire department. Company halt is the command given. Chief Richard Braun at the base of the stairs now with other command staff, other chiefs from departments in the area, getting ready for the casket to be removed.
Cincinnati firefighter.
Cincinnati firefighters now moving up the street, coming into better view. It's an impressive show, row after row after row after row of firefighters stretching back 2 blocks as far as I can see, stretching down Plum Street, passing 7th Street, passing 6th Street. An incredible show of support from firefighters. The pallbearers now approaching the rear of engine 14. A well-rehearsed protocol by these firefighters. Present arms, a salute given, the Cincinnati and the firefighters' flags lowered, the American flag remaining upright as the casket is going to be removed.
Want to mention, as you see that the pallbearers carrying the casket into the cathedral, that you see Officer Gordon's family right behind, climbing the stairs now.
His wife Angela, his two daughters Angelique and Chelsea, and his family from Cincinnati. Love this city, love the community. It's funny, as we've covered this story since last week, you would often hear how many cousins and extended family he had. As the body of firefighter Gordon is making its way into the St. Peter and Chains Cathedral, as well as his family, you can understand that firefighters will then be pouring in as well. So here's how the participation will go.
We want to mention that while this is in a Catholic church, firefighter Daryl Gordon was not Catholic. He was of a Christian belief, but this is a very large church, the cathedral, and so it is being held here in honor of him. There will be plenty of music. There will be readers from what believes to be his family and friends. There are, as we mentioned, the pallbearers and the honorary pallbearers. There will be the introductory rites, the liturgy.
The service will actually be overseen by Deacon Royce Winters, who is the director of African American Catholic Ministries for the Cincinnati Archdiocese. And it was interesting visiting with him yesterday how he has been with this family since day one, from the standpoint of when firefighter Gordon was injured last week and then lost his life in the line of duty. From there, also Reverend Tyrone Patrick will also be speaking. He is the Cincinnati Fire Department chaplain. And then there will be a couple of readings from individuals participating. Mrs. Patricia Neal Miller and then Mrs. Vonda Tyler will also can speak with readings there today. There will be some music as well, but then there will be several speakers. That does include, obviously, Chief Richard Braun. From there, obviously, it will be Mayor John Cranley. Harry Black will also speak, a representative from the Firefighters Union, and then a representative from Mr. Gordon's family as well to speak about their thoughts on today as well. So, gentlemen, as we bring you back in, I know it's very, very emotional for you. Fire District Chief Glenn Coleman, what are your thoughts as you're seeing this today?
I mean, wow, you know, very powerful. It's just goes to show you, like we were saying earlier, the brotherhood, you know. I mean, you couldn't hear a pin drop there. I mean, it was so quiet. You know, a lot of respect for FAO Gordon.
Chief Kramer, as I was talking to Deacon Winters yesterday about what is the message, how can words help in this situation, he talked about service, being present, the community that he served now also coming out to pay their respects as well.